What if everything we think we know about human history is missing entire chapters? Imagine standing on ancient ground, older than farming, older than cities, yet shaped by hands that understood symbolism, precision, and purpose. Stones carved before civilization was supposed to exist. Machines built before science had names. Messages written in languages no one alive can read. Across the world, scattered in deserts, jungles, oceans, and forgotten tombs, are discoveries that refuse to fit neatly into our timelines. They don't scream their secrets. They whisper them. And those whispers raise unsettling questions. Were our ancestors more advanced than we believe? Did knowledge rise and disappear? And how much of our past is not lost, but simply misunderstood? Tonight, we don't chase answers. We step into the silence between them, where history hesitates and mystery begins.
The night is quiet, and the world feels slower, softer, as if time itself has settled into a gentle rhythm. In this calm stillness, we open the dust-laden doorway to the past, an entrance not carved into stone or hidden beneath dunes, but one created through imagination, curiosity, and the human desire to understand where we come from. Archaeology is often portrayed as a science of tools and trowels, of trenches and cataloged fragments, but beneath its surface lies a deeper, more poetic truth. It is a dialogue between the living and the long gone, a patient unwrapping of stories sealed beneath layers of soil, forgotten storms, and ancient hands. As we begin this journey, we do so not with haste or urgency, but with quiet intention, inviting mystery to walk alongside us. The world's most puzzling archaeological finds are more than objects. They are bridges. They connect our familiar present with an unfamiliar past that calls out from the shadows. Some of these discoveries feel impossibly advanced for their time. Others whisper in symbols we have not yet learned to understand. Each carries its own aura, its own unanswered questions, its own stubborn resistance to the explanations we try to apply. And in that resistance lies their power. The past, after all, is not obligated to reveal itself just because we ask politely. Instead, it reveals itself the way an ancient dawn breaks, slowly, partially, leaving long silhouettes that make us wonder what still hides behind them. Before we step into each of these mysteries, it helps to reflect on why they captivate us so deeply. Part of it is the allure of the unknown. Human beings are naturally drawn to puzzle pieces that don't quite fit, to anomalies that stand out, to the quiet voice inside that says, "There is more here than we can see." Another part of it is the contrast between what we expect and what we find. We were taught certain timelines, certain progressions of human development, certain assumptions about what early civilizations could and could not have achieved. But every so often, a discovery emerges that simply does not match the narrative, and like a calm ripple on still water, it spreads through our collective imagination. This opening section sets the mood for everything ahead. Slow, reflective, thoughtful. Instead of chasing conclusions, we take a gentle walk through possibilities. The idea is not to argue for one theory over another, but to sit with the questions themselves. The past is often quiet, and when we listen too loudly, demanding certainty, demanding immediate answers, we miss the subtle clues that lie beneath. So we approach softly, almost as if entering a sacred space, acknowledging that much of what we uncover is older than our nations, older than our languages, older even than many of our most enduring myths. Imagine standing at the edge of a desert excavation site at dawn. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of sand and stone. The sky holds its first pale traces of light, and the ground beneath your feet feels ancient, unhurried. Somewhere below, sealed for thousands of years, lies an object or structure that someone long forgotten created with deliberate hands. We do not know their name. We do not know their voice. We do not know what hopes, fears, or beliefs guided their craft. But we know they existed and that they left something behind, something meant to endure or perhaps something accidentally preserved by time's slow embrace. Archaeology is the act of leaning down, brushing away the dust, and whispering, "We remember you." Yet memory is not always straightforward. Sometimes we uncover artifacts that make perfect sense, tools for farming, pottery for storage, dwellings for shelter. Other times we uncover things that do not belong, things that seem to break their own historical boundaries. A mechanism with clockwork precision centuries before such technology should have existed. Enormous stone statues moved across impossible distances. Lines carved into landscapes visible only from far above. Stories written in languages that refuse to be deciphered. These discoveries challenge not just knowledge, but imagination. They remind us that our ancestors were not shadows stumbling through darkness. They were thinkers, innovators, dreamers, shaped by environments and eras we can only approximate. This documentary is not about proving or disproving grand theories. It is about exploring the space between certainty and wonder. In that space, we find the true beauty of archaeological mystery. When we examine an object whose purpose is unclear or a structure whose origins elude us, we are not witnessing human failure. We are witnessing the vastness of human possibility. The not knowing is part of the magic. It leaves room for humility, curiosity, and a deep awareness that the human story is larger than any single explanation. As we prepare to step into the first major mystery, Göbekli Tepe, an ancient temple complex that should not exist as early as it does, we do so with an open mind. The site represents one of archaeology's most astonishing contradictions, and it sets the tone for many of the puzzles we will explore. But before we turn to its stone circles and carved pillars, we linger here a moment longer. In this gentle beginning, in this soft illumination, we remind ourselves that the past is not a straight line. It is a labyrinth, a constellation, a whispered tale passed from one era to another. Some of its chapters are clear, others torn or missing, and some sealed shut, waiting for the right hands, or perhaps the right century, to lift the latch. This journey invites you to slow down and wander through those chapters at your own pace. As the world around you quiets, let the stories breathe. Let the questions rise. Let your imagination drift, the way ancient dust drifts through a shaft of morning light. Ahead lie enigmas carved in stone, inked on parchment, buried beneath oceans, and hidden in the silence of lost languages. Together, we will explore them not with urgency, but with reverence. And now, with our doorway open and our senses attuned to the whisper of forgotten worlds, we step forward into the first mystery waiting in the shadows of deep antiquity. Göbekli Tepe, the temple that rewrites history simply by existing. In the gentle hush of Anatolia's rolling landscape, where the earth rises and falls like sleeping breath, lies one of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries ever uncovered. Göbekli Tepe. At first glance, it appears as little more than a cluster of weathered stones scattered across a hillside, softened by time and sun. But beneath this seemingly ordinary terrain rests a truth that has reshaped our understanding of early humanity. This is not just a temple, nor simply a gathering place. It is a monument so advanced, so strangely elaborate for its age, that it challenges everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization. And as we explore it together, the lines between certainty and mystery gently blur, inviting us to linger in the ambiguity. Göbekli Tepe dates back more than 11,000 years, older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, older even than agriculture as we understand it. In a world still transitioning out of the last ice age, at a time when humans were believed to be simple hunter-gatherers wandering the landscape in small bands, here stands an architectural feat that defies that narrative. Massive T-shaped pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, arranged in circular patterns. Intricate carvings of animals, lions, snakes, boars, birds, etched into the limestone with unexpected precision. The sheer coordination, manpower, and symbolic intent required to create structures like these raise a single, haunting question. How? Archaeologists have long believed that complex societies, those capable of large-scale cooperation, emerged only after the invention of farming. The logic was simple. Stable food sources create stable communities, which then develop spiritual, artistic, and architectural complexity. But Göbekli Tepe flips that model upside down. It suggests the possibility that spirituality or communal ritual might have come first, pulling people together long before domesticated crops ever anchored them in place. In this light, the site becomes more than ruins. It becomes a philosophical puzzle. Did humans build temples before villages? Did meaning come before survival? Did belief shape society rather than the other way around? Walking through the imagined original form of the site, one pictures towering pillars circling a central space, the sun casting long, narrow shadows between them. Each stone carries an image. Foxes leaping in motion, vultures stretching their wings, snakes coiling with hypnotic fluidity. These are not random decorations, but symbols chosen with intent, hinting at mythologies and rituals we can only guess at. Their placement feels deliberate, almost ceremonial, as if each stone told part of a larger story now lost to time. The carvings themselves bring forward a sense of duality, life and death, earth and sky, danger and protection. Some researchers believe the site may have served as a place of ritual gatherings, perhaps related to death or celestial cycles. Others imagine it as a sanctuary, a sacred space where early humans expressed a shared worldview. The truth is that we do not know, and perhaps part of Göbekli Tepe's power comes from the gentle reminder that the ancient world was filled with beliefs as complex and nuanced as our own. As we sink deeper into its mystery, one detail stands out. Göbekli Tepe was intentionally buried. Sometime around 8000 BCE, the people who built it covered the structures with layers of dirt and debris, preserving them for millennia. This burial was not accidental, not the result of time or natural decay. It was deliberate, an act requiring enormous effort. But why would a civilization pour centuries of labor into creating something so monumental, only to seal it away? The act feels ceremonial, almost reverent, as if closing a chapter too sacred to leave exposed. Or perhaps it marked a transition in their society, an ending, a beginning, or a shift in belief that rendered the old structures obsolete. There is also the puzzle of how the stones were lifted, transported, and arranged. Without beasts of burden, metal tools, or wheels, the logistics seemed daunting. Yet, clearly, organized groups of people achieved it. This implies leadership, planning, and a shared sense of purpose, traits we do not typically assign to hunter-gatherer societies. Every stone becomes a quiet argument against underestimating the intelligence and capability of early humans. Their ingenuity, often overshadowed by modern assumptions, emerges here with silent strength. Archaeologists often speak of Göbekli Tepe with a mix of awe and humility. They uncover one layer only to find deeper questions beneath it. Some believe it marks the birthplace of organized religion. Others suggest it represents a social revolution, one where communal identity took shape long before economy or agriculture. And then there are those who look beyond the scientific, sensing in these stones a spiritual resonance that transcends data. In the nighttime quiet, one can almost feel the weight of those ancient ceremonies, the echoes of voices gathered beneath a star-filled sky. Yet, Göbekli Tepe is not simply about what we can infer. It also embodies what we cannot. For every theory proposed, another gap emerges. We do not know what the builders called themselves. We do not know what language they spoke. We do not know what stories they carved in stone or what rituals they enacted within the circles. We do not know whether the symbols represent myths, calendars, totems, or something beyond our present frame of understanding. This tension between knowledge and mystery creates a gentle pull, drawing us deeper into contemplation. The site encourages us to soften our assumptions about progress. History is rarely linear. it folds and curves, revealing pockets of unexpected brilliance. Göbekli Tepe reminds us that humans have always been thinkers, seekers, creators. Their questions were not so different from ours. Where do we come from? What lies beyond the visible world? How do we connect with what feels larger than ourselves? These questions shape civilizations, and Göbekli Tepe stands as early evidence of that longing. As we leave this ancient sanctuary behind, the transition to our next mystery happens almost naturally. Humanity, it seems, has always built symbols larger than themselves, shaping stone and earth into reflections of belief. And while Göbekli Tepe rises from the hills of Turkey, another enigma stands thousands of miles away on an isolated island, staring silently across the sea. Just as Göbekli Tepe challenges our understanding of early cooperation, the towering Moai statues of Easter Island challenge our ideas of transportation, culture, and the meaning of monumental creation. And so, with Göbekli Tepe's shadows still lingering in our thoughts, we step toward the silent giants waiting on the shores of Rapa Nui. Far out in the vast expanse of the South Pacific, where the ocean stretches endlessly and the horizon seems to dissolve into sky, lies a place both isolated and mysterious, Rapa Nui, better known as Easter Island. Its landscape is dotted with more than 900 monumental statues, silent sentinels that gaze outward toward the ocean, their expressions stoic, timeless, and enigmatic. These are the Moai, towering figures carved for volcanic tuff, their oversized heads and elongated torsos imbued with an unmistakable presence. They are more than stone. They are whispers of a people's past, echoes of a culture that achieved feats of monumental craftsmanship in a place that seems impossibly remote. As we explore them, we are drawn into a duality, the contrast between human aspiration and the natural limits imposed by geography, the interplay of known fact and enduring mystery. The Moai were created between the 13th and 16th centuries, during a time when the island supported a relatively small population. Their sheer size, some reaching over 30 feet in height, weighing many tons, raises questions immediately. How did a small, isolated community manage to carve, transport, and erect such massive figures with only rudimentary tools and without the wheel? The answer remains elusive, sparking theories that range from ingenious to extraordinary. Some researchers suggest sophisticated log rolling or sledding methods, while others propose that the statues were walked upright, rocking from side to side in a slow, controlled procession. Each theory carries its own poetic image of human determination, yet none can fully replicate the feat or explain the ritualistic rhythm that surely accompanied such a monumental effort. The Moai are not scattered randomly across the island. Instead, they are placed in deliberate arrangements, often on stone platforms called ahu, which serve as both ceremonial and communal focal points. Their gaze is almost always directed inland, as if to watch over the villages and the descendants of those who erected them. This orientation suggests a purpose beyond mere display. It evokes protection, memory, and reverence. Yet, despite centuries of study, the true meaning of these statues, why each was created, who they represent, and what ceremonies accompanied their erection, remains largely a matter of conjecture. Each Moai carries the tension of knowledge and mystery, a tangible reminder that human history is a story partly told and partly imagined. The artistry itself is remarkable. Despite being created with stone chisels and manual labor, the proportions, balance, and detailing reveal a mastery of form and an acute understanding of material. Each face seems imbued with individual personality, suggesting that the Moai were not generic representations, but rather commemorations of ancestors or leaders. In this way, the statues bridge the gap between the human and the divine, between memory and myth. Standing before one, it is easy to sense that the people of Rapa Nui were driven by forces that transcended the purely practical, a desire to honor lineage, assert identity, and anchor their culture and permanence. The construction and transportation of the Moai, also reflect a sophisticated understanding of community coordination. Moving a statue weighing dozens of tons across uneven terrain without modern machinery required not only ingenuity, but social cohesion. This suggests that the society which built them had a well-organized structure capable of mobilizing large groups for shared purposes. It is a striking contrast to common perceptions of isolated island cultures as small or primitive. Here, on this remote Pacific outpost, human vision and collective effort gave shape to dreams in stone. Yet the story of the Moai is not without shadow. Over time, environmental pressures, deforestation, and social upheaval led to the toppling of many statues. Once symbols of pride and spiritual authority, they became fragments scattered across the landscape, some buried partially in soil, some lying prone like fallen giants. This decay mirrors the fragility of human endeavor, reminding us that even the most enduring creations are subject to the inexorable forces of time. The tension between their enduring artistry and their vulnerability enhances the sense of mystery. What stories, beliefs, and rituals were lost along with the forests and the fallen Moai? The island itself adds another layer to the puzzle. Its isolation makes the existence of such large-scale statues even more astonishing. Resources were limited, the environment harsh, and yet the people of Rapa Nui committed centuries of labor to crafting these figures. What drove this determination? Was it devotion to ancestors, a spiritual imperative, or a societal mechanism to unify a population around shared purpose and identity? Perhaps it was all of these at once, intertwined in ways we can only guess. The Moai, silent yet resolute, leave us suspended between admiration and perplexity, as if the stone itself guards the answers. Easter Island's Moai also invite comparison with other enigmatic structures around the world. Like Göbekli Tepe, they challenge assumptions about the capabilities of early societies. Where Göbekli Tepe presents monumental coordination at the dawn of civilization, the Moai reveal similarly ambitious effort in a society still largely reliant on manual labor and natural resources. The contrast between these two sites underscores a broader theme. Ingenuity is a universal human trait, emerging in disparate times and places, sometimes leaving behind artifacts that confound our understanding. The Moai are a testament to what human beings can accomplish when imagination, devotion, and collective action converge. Despite centuries of study, modern science and archaeology cannot fully replicate the exact methods used to move and erect the statues. This leaves space for imagination, speculation, and the poetic contemplation that makes these mysteries so compelling. When night falls on the island, the statues cast long, silent shadows across the volcanic plains, standing like eternal witnesses to an ancient story we can only partially perceive. Their stillness evokes both awe and quiet reflection, prompting questions not just about engineering, but about human aspiration, devotion, and the desire to leave a lasting imprint on the world. As we leave Rapa Nui in our thoughts, the narrative gently shifts from massive stone statues to expansive landscapes marked by human hands. Landscapes whose purpose is visible only from above, whose meaning remains cryptic. The journey moves toward the Nazca lines of Peru, where similar ingenuity and mystery intersect in forms even larger than human imagination, etched into the earth itself. Just as the Moai challenge our understanding of transportation, community, and cultural intent, the Nazca lines will challenge our understanding of communication, perception, and the unseen messages left behind by long-gone civilizations. In the silence of Easter Island, with its wind sweeping across volcanic slopes and the Moai watching over the land, we feel the echo of human curiosity reaching across time. These silent giants, frozen in both stone and story, leave a lingering question. How much of our ancestors' knowledge, artistry, and purpose remains hidden, waiting to be understood? And as we carry these reflections forward, we begin to glimpse the extraordinary ways human societies have expressed themselves connecting the isolated dots of history into a pattern we can only begin to trace. Stretching across the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca Desert holds a secret that is both immense and subtle, visible fully only from the sky. From the ground, it appears as a flat, barren landscape, the ochre sands broken only by occasional rocks and the faint shadow of distant hills. Yet when viewed from above, the earth itself becomes a canvas, etched with lines, spirals, geometric patterns, and enormous figures of animals and humans, some stretching hundreds of meters in length. These are the Nazca Lines, an enduring enigma that bridges history, artistry, and mystery, inviting contemplation of human ingenuity and the unknowable intentions of a civilization long vanished. The lines were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE by the Nazca culture, a society skilled in agriculture, pottery, and engineering. Using simple tools, stakes, ropes, and the natural contrast of desert soil, the Nazca people removed the reddish-brown, iron oxide-coated pebbles to reveal the lighter soil beneath, creating crisp, lasting lines that have survived for centuries in an exceptionally dry climate. From the ground, their true form is often impossible to discern. It is only when seen from a height that the figures emerge with startling clarity. Geometric lines run straight for kilometers, spirals coil in hypnotic patterns, and depictions of hummingbirds, monkeys, and spiders appear almost alive, frozen in stone-colored ink. The precision, scale, and endurance of these markings continue to fascinate scholars, artists, and travelers alike. Unlike the moai of Easter Island, which communicate a more direct symbolic presence, the Nazca Lines seem to embody a form of communication that is deliberate, yet enigmatic. Were they messages to the gods above, visible from the heavens as an offering of devotion or reverence? Or were they markers, guides, or calendars tied to seasonal cycles, water sources, or astronomical events? Each theory is compelling yet incomplete. The lines are a reminder of a human desire to reach beyond the ordinary, to interact with the forces of nature and the unknown through scale, precision, and repetition. In their quiet defiance of time, they hold a dialogue between the seen and unseen, the known and unknowable. The variety of forms across the Nazca landscape adds another layer of mystery. Geometric shapes appear alongside animal figures, some entirely abstract, others startlingly realistic. Certain figures align with solstices or astronomical phenomena, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. Others seem to have no functional or observable purpose at all. The effect is almost meditative. The desert becomes a vast, open library of symbols, each line a sentence, each figure a chapter, and each question unanswerable in full. To walk among them, to trace their faintly visible pathways, is to move in a world where human creativity and cosmic curiosity intersect, leaving traces meant to endure and provoke thought. Despite modern research and aerial photography, the Nazca Lines retain a stubborn opacity. Anthropologists, archaeologists, and astronomers have proposed interpretations for decades, but no single theory satisfies all questions. Some argue the lines were ceremonial pathways, walked in ritual processions to honor deities. Others suggest they mapped subterranean water sources, functioning as a practical guide across the desert. Still others posit that they were designed as visual prayers, meant for the eyes of the gods alone, emphasizing intention over functionality. Each explanation illuminates one facet of the puzzle while leaving another in shadow, preserving the desert's sense of quiet enigma. The labor and coordination required to create these works cannot be overstated. Without aerial vantage points, without modern surveying tools, the Nazca people designed and executed massive compositions visible only from above. This implies careful planning, knowledge passed between generations, and a sophisticated sense of spatial awareness. In this sense, the lines reflect a broader pattern in human history, the impulse to shape the environment into forms that exceed individual understanding, requiring community, vision, and a belief in something larger than oneself. There's also an aesthetic aspect to consider. While practical theories attempt to explain the purpose of the lines, the artistry itself cannot be ignored. The figures are precise, elegant, and enduring. They reveal a culture attuned to both observation and imagination, capable of visualizing and executing complex ideas that transcend the immediate and the mundane. In this way, the Nazca lines are simultaneously a technical achievement and an act of poetic expression, their meaning partially lost, yet their impact unmistakable. Yet, as with the Moai, the Nazca lines also carry a shadow of human fragility. Despite centuries of endurance, modern encroachment, tourism, and climate variations threaten their preservation. Their delicate beauty, etched into the desert by human hands, is vulnerable to both neglect and the march of time. This contrast between permanence and impermanence, between the intended eternity of the artwork and the fragility of its survival, deepens the meditation on human aspiration. It reminds us that every effort to leave a mark, however monumental, exists within the flux of history. The Nazca lines also invite reflection on perspective and perception. Their full scale is invisible from the earth, requiring distance or flight to comprehend. This duality, the hidden visible only from afar, mirrors the nature of history itself, in which understanding often depends on shifting vantage points. As we consider other mysterious artifacts, from underwater structures to monumental temples, we see a recurring motif. Knowledge is layered, context-dependent, and often just out of reach. The human mind, however, is compelled to imagine, reconstruct, and interpret, filling the gaps with questions that may never be answered. As we leave the sun-baked plains of the Nazca Desert in thought, the narrative turns from human markings upon the earth to human creations embedded in mechanisms of extraordinary complexity. Just as the Nazca people etched their beliefs into landscapes visible only from above, ancient hands elsewhere created intricate objects that encode knowledge and intention in forms we are only beginning to understand. This transition takes us from vast outdoor enigmas to small, dense, and extraordinary artifacts, like the Antikythera mechanism, a device that seems impossibly advanced for its time. In moving from desert canvases to clockwork mysteries, we carry forward the central theme. The human history is filled with moments where ingenuity and imagination intersect, producing marvels that persist long after their creators have vanished. The Nazca lines, with their haunting precision and silent grandeur, remain a testament to the enduring human desire to communicate with forces larger than ourselves. They are both evidence and question, monument and mystery. As the wind stirs across the desert plains, we can almost imagine the footsteps of those who walked these lines, hands raised in reverence or contemplation, tracing symbols meant for eyes beyond their own. In this interplay between the visible and invisible, between effort and enigma, the lines invite us to slow down, reflect, and listen, to consider the depth of human creativity and the enduring allure of the unknown. Beneath the turquoise waters off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera, a diver's flashlight once illuminated a shadowy wreck, a silent relic of the sea's long memory. Among the treasures scattered across the ocean floor lay a small, corroded object of bronze and gear, a device so intricate that it would take decades of study to grasp its significance. This is the Antikythera mechanism, an artifact often described as the world's first analog computer, a technological marvel that seems impossibly advanced for the 1st century BCE. As we examine it, we are confronted with a profound contrast. The humble appearance of its corroded metal housing belies an intelligence and complexity that could rival machinery developed almost 2 millennia later. It is an artifact that embodies the intersection of human curiosity, craftsmanship, and the eternal puzzle of lost knowledge. The mechanism is compact, about the size of a shoebox, yet inside its bronze case lies a network of interlocking gears, carefully arranged to model astronomical phenomena. It was capable of predicting eclipses, tracking the cycles of the moon and sun, and even representing the irregular orbit of the planets. Each gear was meticulously cut to precise ratios, a feat of mechanical engineering that would not be replicated until the 14th century. When scholars first began to study it in detail, the Antikythera mechanism immediately challenged conventional understanding. How could a civilization so many centuries ago conceive, design, and execute such sophisticated technology? Its existence disrupts our assumptions about the linear progression of knowledge, reminding us that human ingenuity is neither constrained by time nor fully captured by historical narratives. The device was likely used to track celestial movements for both practical and ceremonial purposes. The ancient Greeks were keen observers of the skies, integrating astronomy into philosophy, navigation, and ritual. Yet the mechanism suggests a level of precision and abstraction previously thought impossible for the era. Each gear ratio, each dial, each inscription was calculated to model the universe in miniature. Holding it in one's imagination, one can picture a scholar centuries ago turning the dials, watching celestial events unfold in real time, understanding patterns that connected human experience to the greater cosmos. There's a poetry in this, a resonance that transcends the functional purpose of the object. The Antikythera mechanism also embodies the tension between what we know and what we cannot know. Only fragments of the device have survived. Many gears and components are missing, lost to corrosion and the ravages of the sea. Yet through painstaking study using X-ray imaging, 3D modeling, and careful reconstruction, researchers have been able to recreate much of its function. Even so, questions remain. Who exactly built it? How widely was such technology known in the ancient world? Was this mechanism unique, or part of a broader tradition of advanced craftsmanship that has otherwise vanished? Each discovery leads to more mysteries, creating a quiet, humbling space where knowledge and imagination meet. The craftsmanship of the mechanism also invites reflection on the human capacity for abstraction. To create such a device, the maker had to understand both the observable movements of celestial bodies and the mathematics needed to model them mechanically. This implies not only technical skill, but a conceptual sophistication that resonates with the intellectual pursuits of the time. In this sense, the Antikythera mechanism becomes more than a tool. It is a symbol of human curiosity and a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge has always inspired extraordinary feats of creativity. Equally compelling is the journey of the mechanism itself. After lying undisturbed for centuries beneath the sea, it emerged in the early 20th century, sparking immediate fascination and bewilderment. Initially, even experts could not imagine what it represented. The mechanism's small, corroded fragments were at first dismissed as mundane marine debris. Only careful study revealed the precision and intentionality embedded in its gears and inscriptions. Its discovery mirrors a broader pattern in archaeology. Objects that appear ordinary often conceal extraordinary stories, waiting for patient observation to reveal their secrets. The Antikythera mechanism also forces us to confront the fragility of knowledge. Unlike monumental architecture or massive statues, its complexity was hidden in a small, vulnerable object. Over time, such knowledge can disappear entirely, leaving behind only traces of human ingenuity that inspire awe and speculation. Its survival is remarkable, a fragile link across millennia, connecting us to minds that thought deeply about the universe, about patterns, cycles, and the quest to understand the world. There's a quiet melancholy in this, a reminder that the human record is incomplete, that brilliance can be lost to time as easily as it can endure. This artifact stands in contrast to other mysteries we have explored, like the Nazca lines or the Moai, which rely on scale and visibility to convey meaning. The Antikythera mechanism is subtle, intimate, and precise. Its complexity is internal, hidden within layers of gears, and it is only through patient observation that its genius emerges. In this way, it reminds us that human achievement takes many forms, sometimes monumental and external, sometimes small, intricate, and internalized, but each capable of leaving an indelible mark on history. The mechanism also evokes a sense of timeless dialogue between the past and present. Modern engineers, historians, and astronomers reconstruct and study its design, marveling at the intelligence and craftsmanship embedded within. There is a connection across centuries, a shared appreciation for patterns, for precision, and for the desire to understand the cosmos. It is a quiet conversation, one that transcends culture and era, reminding us that curiosity and ingenuity are enduring human traits. As we reflect on the Antikythera mechanism, it becomes clear that the pursuit of understanding, whether through monuments, lines etched in the earth, or intricate gears, defines much of human history. Each artifact we encounter is a testament to the lengths humans will go to grasp, model, and make sense of the world around them. The mechanism, in its delicate, complex beauty, exemplifies this pursuit in miniature, yet with profound resonance. From here, our journey will shift from mechanical marvels to enigmatic artifacts that may hint at technological knowledge far beyond what we usually expect from ancient societies. The Baghdad Battery awaits, a small yet controversial object that challenges assumptions about the history of electricity, innovation, and human curiosity. As we move from bronze gears to earthen vessels, we continue to trace the threads of human ingenuity, confronting mysteries that are both concrete and elusive, tangible and intangible, leaving us suspended in wonder between what is known and what is yet to be discovered. In a quiet corner of a museum in Baghdad, a small, unassuming clay jar rests behind glass, seemingly ordinary to the casual observer. Its cylindrical shape, no larger than a modern coffee cup, does not immediately convey the curiosity, controversy, and wonder it has inspired among scholars for decades. This is the artifact known as the Baghdad Battery, discovered in the 1930s near the village of Kuyut Raboué, and it has become a symbol of one of the most intriguing questions in the history of technology. Could humans have experimented with electricity thousands of years before it was formally understood? As we examine it, we find ourselves suspended between possibility and skepticism, fact and speculation, history and imagination. The Baghdad Battery consists of a clay jar containing a copper cylinder with an iron rod suspended inside. When filled with an acidic liquid, such as vinegar or citrus juice, the jar can produce a small electric current. On its own, the artifact is simple, yet its implications are extraordinary. If intentionally created as a galvanic cell, it suggests that people in the Parthian or Sasanian era may have understood principles of electrochemistry long before the modern era. The idea that ancient civilizations could have experimented with electricity, if true, reshapes our assumptions about technological history and human ingenuity. But here lies the tension. The evidence is incomplete and interpretation is uncertain. Some researchers propose that the battery could have been used for electroplating, applying a thin layer of metal onto objects for decorative purposes. Perhaps jewelry or small statues were coated in gold or silver using a primitive form of electrical current, a silent testament to experimentation with chemistry and material science. Others argue that it might have had a medicinal purpose, generating small currents for therapeutic treatments. Yet skeptics point out that there is no direct evidence linking the jars to any functional use and suggest that they may have served purely as storage containers, ritual objects, or even for fermentation. Each interpretation opens a door to human imagination while simultaneously closing another, leaving the artifact in a liminal space between confirmed knowledge and speculative wonder. The Baghdad Battery is also notable for the context in which it was found. Buried alongside clay vessels, shards, and remnants of everyday life, the jar appears modest yet intentional. Its survival for nearly 2 millennia is a reminder of how fragile yet enduring human creations can be. Unlike massive structures such as the Moai or Göbekli Tepe, which command attention through scale and visibility, the battery captivates because of its subtlety. Its significance emerges only when closely examined, its secrets hidden within form, material, and function. In this way, it represents a different kind of ancient ingenuity, quiet, experimental, and intimately connected to the daily life and curiosity of people long gone. The controversy surrounding the artifact also speaks to the human desire to push the boundaries of knowledge and to imagine what might have been. Could the Parthians or Sassanids have been experimenting with electricity as a tool, a craft, or a form of spiritual expression? Or are we projecting our modern understanding onto an object that served a far simpler purpose? The debate itself becomes part of the artifact's story, illustrating the delicate balance between discovery and interpretation, between evidence and imagination. In contemplating the Baghdad Battery, we are invited to consider not just the artifact, but our own assumptions about what is possible in the ancient world. The elegance of this small jar lies in its simplicity. A clay exterior, a copper cylinder, and an iron rod. Yet these elements, combined with a liquid conductor, can generate a phenomenon that seems centuries ahead of its time. This minimalism contrasts sharply with the complexity of the Antikythera mechanism, highlighting a pattern in human ingenuity. Innovation can be monumental or subtle, large or intimate, but it always emerges from curiosity and observation. In both cases, we encounter evidence of minds striving to understand, manipulate, and harness the natural world, leaving behind traces that continue to provoke wonder. It is also important to consider the cultural lens through which such artifacts are interpreted. Modern fascination with the Baghdad Battery is fueled by the assumption that electrical technology must have a continuous lineage, yet human creativity does not always follow a linear trajectory. Knowledge can appear, disappear, and re-emerge in different forms, as seen in the many enigmatic artifacts scattered across history. The battery challenges us to think beyond conventional timelines and to embrace the possibility that ingenuity can arise in unexpected places and moments, often leaving us with more questions than answers. Despite its modest appearance, the Baghdad Battery captures the imagination because it exemplifies the tension between what is known and what remains unknown, a recurring theme in the study of history and archaeology. Some see it as a tantalizing glimpse of lost knowledge, a hint that ancient peoples may have understood phenomena we thought we discovered only in modern times. Others see it as a reminder that interpretation is fraught with uncertainty, that not all mysteries yield to investigation, and that sometimes the enigma itself is as important as any potential explanation. As we reflect on the Baghdad Battery, we also consider the broader context of human experimentation. Across civilizations, small objects often encode knowledge and curiosity in ways that survive long after their creators are gone. Unlike massive temples or statues, which are visible and imposing, objects like the battery speak in whispers. They challenge us to notice, to think deeply, and to consider the ingenuity of individuals who lived in a world very different from our own, yet shared a similar desire to explore, understand, and manipulate natural forces. From the quiet laboratory of ancient Baghdad, our narrative moves next to another small but mysterious artifact, the Saqqara bird of Egypt. Like the battery, it is subtle in size, but profound in implication, hinting at knowledge, experimentation, and perhaps even imagination that stretches beyond conventional historical timelines. As we transition from clay jars to carved wooden figures, we continue to explore a pattern. Human beings, across continents and millennia, have consistently sought to understand, create, and experiment, leaving traces that blur the line between known and unknown, mundane and extraordinary, fact and speculation. In this way, the Baghdad Battery becomes more than a jar. It becomes a meditation on curiosity, on ingenuity, and on the fragile, persistent threads of knowledge that connect us to those who lived thousands of years before. Its small form contains the echoes of questions we will never fully answer, yet it continues to inspire thought, imagination, and a quiet awe that resonates across time. And in following its story, we are reminded that sometimes the most profound mysteries are found not in what is monumental and visible, but in what is intimate, concealed, and waiting patiently to be discovered. Deep within the arid sands of Egypt's Saqqara necropolis, a quiet discovery sits on a museum shelf, unassuming in size but profound in implication. It is a small wooden artifact, no longer than a modern hand, carved in the shape of a bird with elegantly curved wings and a streamlined body. Known simply as the Saqqara bird, it was excavated from a tomb dating back to the First Dynasty, around 2000 BCE, and yet it has captivated scholars, engineers, and dreamers alike for decades. At first glance, it appears merely ornamental, a toy perhaps, a funerary symbol. But a closer inspection reveals contours and proportions strikingly reminiscent of modern aeronautical design, raising questions that hover between practical science and speculative wonder. The bird's wings are slightly asymmetrical, its tail horizontal, and its fuselage elongated, all features that suggest careful attention to aerodynamics. When placed on a tabletop and tilted, it glides with surprising stability, hinting at an understanding of flight principles that seem astonishing for an era without powered aircraft. Some researchers have even experimented with it as a glider, noting that, with slight modifications, it could potentially demonstrate controlled flight. Was this artifact simply a toy meant to delight? Or could it have represented an experimental model, a prototype, or a symbolic gesture toward the concept of flight itself? The lack of written explanation leaves the artifact suspended in ambiguity, a quiet puzzle awaiting interpretation. Beyond its possible mechanical function, the Saqqara bird also holds symbolic significance. Birds in ancient Egyptian culture were often associated with the soul, the spirit, and the journey to the afterlife. Could this artifact have served as a spiritual emblem, designed to guide the soul of the deceased safely to eternity? Perhaps it carried a dual purpose, practical curiosity intertwined with ritual meaning. This duality mirrors the tension in much of ancient technology and art, the blending of observation, experimentation, and spirituality into forms that communicate across millennia. Every curve, every carved feather, seems intentional, suggesting that the artifact was more than an idle creation, whether its purpose was earthly, symbolic, or somewhere in between. The Saqqara bird also invites reflection on the sophistication of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship. The piece is carved from a single block of wood, its surfaces smoothed and polished with care, its balance and proportion finely tuned. In an era without metal tools for shaping delicate materials with precision, this small artifact exemplifies a remarkable understanding of form and function. Its creators demonstrated a capacity for observation, experimentation, and refinement, echoing the ingenuity seen in other ancient artifacts such as the Antikythera mechanism or the Baghdad battery. In these objects, we glimpse the quiet brilliance of individuals who engage deeply with the natural world, exploring its principles through hands-on practice and creative thinking. Yet the Saqqara bird's true function remains elusive. Unlike the Antikythera mechanism, it leaves no textual instructions, no explanatory inscriptions. Its purpose is inferred, hypothesized, and debated, highlighting the limitations of our modern understanding. This uncertainty does not diminish its significance. Rather, it enhances its mystery. The artifact becomes a meditation on the interplay between curiosity, experimentation, and cultural context. What was considered important or sacred in 2000 BC may have encompassed both practical knowledge and symbolic resonance, intertwined in ways that modern categorization struggles to separate. The artifact also connects to a broader pattern in ancient history, the idea that human ingenuity often manifests in small, overlooked objects rather than monumental structures alone. While large statues, temples, and ceremonial sites command attention with their scale, artifacts like the Saqqara bird remind us that equally profound insights can be embedded in intimate, personal creations. Their subtlety does not make them less remarkable. Instead, it challenges us to look more closely, to question, and to imagine. Each artifact becomes a bridge, linking the curiosity of the past to the wonder of the present. Moreover, the Saqqara bird provokes thought about the human desire to explore beyond the immediate and visible. Flight, after all, is an aspiration as old as human imagination itself, a dream of transcending earthly limits, of moving freely through the air like the birds overhead. This small artifact may represent a seed of that enduring fascination, a physical manifestation of the mind's desire to comprehend and conquer natural laws. Even if it was never intended as a functional glider, the precision of its design suggests observation, experimentation, and a conceptual leap that transcends its apparent simplicity. The artifact's quiet ambiguity also mirrors the broader theme of our journey through ancient mysteries. Like the Baghdad Battery or the Antikythera mechanism, the Saqqara bird is small yet profound, subtle yet full of implication. Its existence prompts reflection not just on what the past achieved, but on what may have been imagined, attempted, or lost. It reminds us that knowledge is often ephemeral, surviving only in fragments, hints, and traces. These fragments carry the echoes of thought, curiosity, and ingenuity across millennia, inviting us to listen and reflect with patience and wonder. As we step back from the Saqqara bird, the narrative naturally begins to shift toward larger, more monumental enigmas, where scale and secrecy blend into another layer of human mystery. The hidden pyramids of China, buried beneath farmland and obscured by centuries of legend and limited access, present another facet of ancient ambition. They are silent, massive, and inscrutable, echoing the same themes of ingenuity, cultural significance, and enduring enigma, but on a scale that dwarfs the intimate elegance of the Saqqara bird. The Saqqara bird thus serves as a bridge, connecting the exploration of small, intricate artifacts with the monumental mysteries that follow. It reminds us that ingenuity is not constrained by size or visibility, and that human curiosity manifests in diverse forms across time and space. Whether toy, symbol, or prototype, the artifact embodies the same human impulse that drives civilizations to build, to create, and to question. In contemplating the Saqqara bird, we are invited to slow down and observe, to consider the subtle brilliance of past civilizations, and to embrace the uncertainty that makes history both humbling and endlessly fascinating. Its small form holds within it the vastness of human imagination, a quiet testament to the drive to understand, to experiment, and to reach beyond the immediate, leaving questions that continue to hover in the spaces between known and unknown. And with this reflection, we turn our attention to the monumental pyramids of China, where secrecy, scale, and ambition converge, guiding us from delicate experimentation to grand enigma. Far from the sun-drenched deserts of Egypt and the remote Pacific Islands, deep within the rolling plains of northern China, lie structures that have intrigued explorers, archaeologists, and historians for decades: the pyramids of China. Unlike their more famous Egyptian counterparts, these monuments are shrouded in secrecy, partially hidden beneath centuries of soil, vegetation, and human development. Some are enormous earthen mounds, their precise shape and dimensions revealed only through aerial photography or careful excavation. Others have been obscured entirely by modern towns, farmland, or government restrictions. Yet despite their obscurity, these pyramids represent a monumental achievement, a testimony to ancient ambition, and a reminder that the story of human ingenuity is far broader than the history often presented in textbooks. The pyramids are scattered across several provinces, but most famously near Zan, the ancient capital and final resting place of emperors of the Han Dynasty and earlier dynasties. They are vast in scale, some larger in volume than the Great Pyramid of Giza, yet far less studied due to their inaccessibility and political sensitivities. The precise construction methods remain largely unknown, as many sites have yet to undergo comprehensive archaeological examination. What is clear, however, is that these structures were built with remarkable planning, engineering, and labor, reflecting both the authority of the rulers who commissioned them and the resources of the civilizations that constructed them. They are silent witnesses to a society capable of extraordinary organization and vision. One of the most striking aspects of the Chinese pyramids is their enigmatic purpose and design. Many are burial mounds, intended to house emperors and their retinues in the afterlife, yet some display unusual alignments and shapes that hint at broader cosmological significance. Certain pyramids are aligned with cardinal directions or natural landmarks, suggesting an awareness of astronomy and geography, and perhaps a symbolic connection between the earthly and celestial realms. Unlike Egyptian pyramids, which have been studied extensively and whose tombs are often open to exploration, many Chinese pyramids remain sealed and undisturbed. This inaccessibility adds to their aura of mystery, as if the past itself is choosing what can be revealed and what must remain hidden. The construction of these pyramids presents puzzles similar to other monumental sites worldwide. Moving massive quantities of earth, shaping precise angles, and creating durable structures without modern machinery required sophisticated coordination and immense labor. How ancient societies achieved such feats remains a topic of study and speculation. Some researchers propose complex techniques of layering, compaction, and local material utilization, yet no definitive consensus exists. The very presence of these enormous, carefully constructed mounds challenges assumptions about early Chinese civilizations, revealing an intelligence and capability that mirrors other global architectural marvels, yet unique in style and purpose. What further deepens the mystery is the lack of accompanying inscriptions or detailed records for many of these pyramids. While some are linked to known emperors or dynasties through historical texts, many remain anonymous, their builders lost to history. This absence of documentation transforms them from simple burial structures into puzzles for historians. Who exactly designed these pyramids? What rituals were performed in their construction? What beliefs and philosophies motivated their builders? The questions linger, echoing across centuries, much like the Moai watching silently over Rapa Nui or the Nazca lines etched into the Peruvian desert. The pyramid's secrecy also invites speculation about lost knowledge. Archaeologists have discovered that these mounds often contain intricate burial chambers, valuable artifacts, and sophisticated structural techniques designed to endure time. Some believe that within their earth-covered walls lies evidence of technological, architectural, or astronomical knowledge not widely recognized in conventional histories. While sensational theories occasionally emerge in popular media, the most compelling perspective is that these pyramids reflect the ingenuity, ambition, and cultural depth of societies whose full story remains only partially revealed. Their silence, in a way, is a reminder that history is never fully accessible, and that each discovery is a step toward understanding rather than a definitive answer. The scale and secrecy of the Chinese pyramids also highlight a recurring theme in archaeology: the tension between visibility and concealment. Many monumental constructions around the world, from Göbekli Tepe to the Nazca Lines, balance public presence with hidden complexity. The Chinese pyramids take this tension further, buried beneath layers of time, human activity, and natural overgrowth, as if the land itself is guarding the knowledge within. Their obscurity forces us to consider the limits of our observation and to imagine the broader context in which these civilizations operated, one where ambition, belief, and social organization intersected to create enduring monuments. Another intriguing aspect is the potential cultural connections these pyramids suggest. Some researchers note similarities in symbolic alignment, architectural planning, and ritual function with other pyramid-building cultures, raising questions about parallel development, shared human impulses, or the independent emergence of complex societal structures. While there is no evidence of direct influence from distant civilizations, the repetition of certain architectural motifs across continents highlights a universal aspect of human creativity: the desire to build, to honor, and to reach for permanence in a fleeting world. The Chinese pyramids also prompt reflection on the nature of mystery itself. Unlike the easily observable Nazca lines or the dramatic Moai, These mounds conceal their secrets in plain sight, challenging observers to look closer, think deeper, and acknowledge the limits of what is currently known. They are a meditation on patience, on the long arc of time, and on the idea that some knowledge may remain partially veiled, accessible only to those willing to study carefully, to question respectfully, and to accept ambiguity as part of the narrative. As we leave the shadowed, earthen mounds of northern China, the narrative naturally moves toward enigmas of communication and written knowledge. Just as the pyramids suggest sophistication, planning, and intent on a monumental scale, so too do ancient manuscripts hint at intellect, observation, and mystery preserved in a more intimate form. The Voynich manuscript awaits, a book whose contents remain undeciphered, whose illustrations confound and intrigue, and whose very existence challenges our understanding of the limits of human knowledge. In moving from massive, hidden earthworks to cryptic, handwritten texts, we continue to trace the spectrum of human curiosity, invention, and the persistent allure of the unknown. The pyramids of China, silent and imposing, remind us that human ambition knows no bounds, whether expressed in stone, earth, or hidden symbols. They are monuments to cultural memory, to social organization, and to the enduring impulse to leave a mark on the world. As we reflect on their mysteries, we are invited to slow down, observe, and imagine, to consider the vast continuum of human ingenuity and the shadows of history that stretch across continents and centuries. And with this reflection, we prepare to delve into the dense, cryptic world of the Voynich manuscript, where another form of human mystery awaits, small in scale but immense in intrigue. In a quiet archive at Yale University, a curious codex rests behind protective glass, its pages filled with delicate, looping script and bizarre illustrations that defy comprehension. This is the Voynich manuscript, a book that has puzzled linguists, cryptographers, historians, and amateur sleuths for over a century. Dated to the early 15th century, its origins remain shrouded in mystery. No one knows who wrote it, what language it is written in, or what the strange botanical, astronomical, and anatomical diagrams are intended to convey. Every page challenges the boundaries of understanding, creating a delicate tension between fascination and frustration, curiosity and humility. The manuscript is written in an unknown script, flowing in a manner that suggests syntax and structure, yet resists all attempts at translation. Words appear to repeat in patterns, hinting at rules or grammar, but these patterns do not correspond to any known language. Some have theorized that it may be a cipher, a code hiding knowledge intended for the few who could decipher it. Others suggest it is a constructed language, an artistic creation meant to convey information symbolically rather than literally. Every attempt to decode it, whether using computational analysis or human ingenuity, has been met with partial insight at best, leaving scholars to wonder whether the manuscript is a profound intellectual achievement or an elaborate hoax. The illustrations within the Voynich manuscript further deepen its enigma. One page may depict fantastical plants with roots and flowers that do not exist in reality. Another shows astronomical charts and zodiac-like diagrams, their meanings elusive. Yet another contains human figures immersed in pools of water, connected by intricate tubes or vessels. The imagery is often surreal, bordering on the whimsical, yet it is executed with care and consistency, suggesting deliberate intent. The combination of detailed drawings with an undecipherable script creates a tension between the visual and the linguistic, a duality that both invites interpretation and resists it. What makes the manuscript particularly fascinating is its balance between familiarity and the utterly unknown. The plants resemble botanical sketches, the human figures echo anatomical studies, and the celestial diagrams recall early astronomy. Yet each element is subtly or profoundly distorted. This creates a sense of déjà vu coupled with disorientation, a feeling that the reader has entered a world that mirrors our own but is governed by unfamiliar rules. In this interplay between recognition and mystery lies the manuscript's hypnotic power. It captivates without fully revealing itself, leaving space for imagination to wander freely. The Voynich manuscript also represents a broader theme common in our journey through ancient and historical enigmas: the persistence of human curiosity and the desire to encode knowledge. Like the Antikythera mechanism or the Baghdad battery, it embodies the impulse to understand and manipulate the world. Yet it differs in its intimacy. It is small, portable, and personal, suggesting that its creation was the labor of an individual or a small group rather than a large community. Its secrecy, intentional or otherwise, transforms it into a dialogue across centuries, a silent voice asking questions we are still striving to answer. Speculation about the manuscript's purpose is as varied as its illustrations. Some believe it is a pharmacological or medical text, cataloging plants, remedies, and bodily functions in a coded form. Others propose it is a work of alchemy, astrology, or esoteric philosophy, encoding mystical knowledge accessible only to initiates. There are even theories that it represents an attempt at artistic experimentation, a playful or intellectual puzzle created for the sheer pleasure of enigma. Each hypothesis illuminates a facet of human creativity while leaving vast gaps in understanding, emphasizing the manuscript's role as both artifact and mirror, reflecting the curiosity of those who encounter it. The manuscript's journey through time is as mysterious as its content. Named after Wilfrid Voynich, the antiquarian who acquired it in 1912, it has passed through private collections, survived wars, and attracted the attention of some of the most brilliant minds in cryptography. During World War II, for instance, codebreakers were drawn to its pages, hoping to uncover hidden messages. Yet even modern computing and linguistic analysis have failed to fully unravel its secrets. This persistence of mystery underscores a recurring lesson. Some artifacts resist definitive interpretation, and perhaps part of their power lies in that very resistance. Another element of fascination is the manuscript's universality. Scholars from multiple disciplines, botany, linguistics, computer science, history, and art, have all attempted to decipher it, and each brings a unique perspective. The work thus serves as a crossroads of human inquiry, connecting analytical precision with imaginative speculation. It reminds us that understanding history and mystery often requires interdisciplinary collaboration, and that the pursuit of knowledge is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective dialogue spanning time and culture. Like other enigmatic artifacts we have explored, the Voynich manuscript occupies a space between what is known and what is unknowable. It challenges assumptions about literacy, communication, and the limits of human understanding. Its continued secrecy prompts reflection on the nature of knowledge itself. That much of human understanding may remain coded, obscured, or lost, waiting for discovery, interpretation, or perhaps insight that we are not yet equipped to achieve. In this way, the manuscript exemplifies the delicate balance between curiosity and humility, fascination and restraint, a theme that resonates through every mysterious object and sight we have encountered. As we leave the quiet study of the Voynich manuscript, our journey turns once again toward the tangible and monumental, blending human ingenuity with cultural expression. From coded pages, we move to massive structures with symbolic weight, the enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica. Unlike manuscripts, these are physical objects whose precision and purpose continue to elude definitive explanation. Yet they share with the Voynich manuscript the same tension between known and unknown, the same invitation to imagine, speculate, and wonder at the depths of human creativity. The Voynich manuscript, with its intricate script and surreal illustrations, remains a testament to the enduring human desire to understand, to encode, and to communicate across time. Its mystery is not merely a puzzle to be solved, but a space to reflect, ponder, and engage with the vastness of human imagination. In tracing its story, we recognize a thread connecting all the artifacts we have explored so far: the impulse to create, to innovate, and to leave traces that spark curiosity centuries later. And with this thread, We prepare to move from written enigma to sculpted precision, from coded knowledge to crafted stone, as we explore the stone spheres of Costa Rica and the silent questions they pose about human intent and skill. Deep within the tropical forests and riverbeds of Costa Rica lie mysterious objects that continue to captivate archaeologists, historians, and curious minds alike. The Dequis stone spheres. Smooth, perfectly round, and often massive, these stone spheres vary in size from a few centimeters to over 2 meters in diameter, some weighing several tons. Their precision is remarkable, particularly given the apparent lack of modern tools, raising questions that echo across time. How were these spheres made? Why were they created with such care? What purpose did they serve? Unlike pyramids, manuscripts, or mechanical devices, these objects are small yet monumental in concept, subtle in intention, yet imposing in presence. The spheres were primarily discovered in the Dequis Delta and surrounding areas of southern Costa Rica, where pre-Columbian cultures flourished. Dating from around 600 to 1500 CE, they are attributed to the Dequis people, whose civilization remains largely mysterious due to limited historical records. Archaeologists have found the spheres in clusters, sometimes aligned along sight lines, near ceremonial plazas or adjacent to burial sites, suggesting they held both symbolic and social significance. Their arrangement hints at deliberate planning, an aesthetic sensibility, and perhaps a cosmological purpose, yet the specifics remain elusive. Each sphere is a puzzle, smooth and symmetrical, whispering of intention without revealing the complete story. The craftsmanship of the spheres is astonishing. Made primarily from granodiorite, a hard igneous rock, many exhibit near-perfect spherical geometry. Some spheres display only minor imperfections despite their considerable size, suggesting careful shaping and polishing, likely using hammering, pecking, and abrasion techniques. The labor required to achieve such precision, without metal tools or advanced machinery, speaks to an extraordinary understanding of material properties, patience, and skill. It also raises questions about knowledge transmission. How did these communities pass down techniques to achieve such consistent perfection? The spheres are not only aesthetic marvels, but also silent testaments to collective expertise and human ingenuity. One of the most intriguing aspects of spheres is their apparent alignment and spatial organization. Researchers have noted that certain clusters correspond to astronomical phenomena, with lines of spheres possibly marking solstices or cardinal directions. Others appear positioned to delineate ceremonial spaces or to establish social hierarchy within settlements. These potential alignments suggest that the spheres were more than decorative objects. They may have functioned as instruments of navigation, ritual markers, or symbols of power and community identity. Yet the exact reasoning behind their placement remains speculative, leaving room for interpretation and imagination. The mystery deepens when considering the effort required to transport and position the larger spheres. Some weigh several tons, yet were moved without the benefit of wheels, draft animals, or modern lifting equipment. Archaeologists hypothesize that ropes, rollers, and coordinated human labor were likely used, but the exact methods remain unknown. The sheer determination and organization required to create and position these spheres point to a society that valued precision, symbolism, and permanence. Each sphere is therefore not just a geometric object, but a monument to social cohesion and technical skill. The spheres also raise questions about the interplay between human creation and natural landscapes. Many are found in riverbeds, on hillsides, or along coastlines, blending with the environment yet standing apart in their geometric perfection. This interplay suggests a conscious dialogue between human intention and the natural world, a desire to impose order, symmetry, and meaning upon the terrain. The spheres are simultaneously part of the landscape and distinct from it, a tension that echoes through other mysterious sites, such as the Nazca Lines, where human creativity interacts with geography to produce enduring enigmas. Interpretation of the spheres varies widely. Some propose they were status symbols, marking the homes of elites or important social spaces. Others suggest they were ceremonial tools, used in rituals connected to cosmology or agriculture. More speculative theories have arisen, including the possibility of astronomical calculators, navigational markers, or symbols of spiritual belief. While definitive answers remain elusive, the multiplicity of theories highlights the sphere's ability to provoke thought, curiosity, and wonder, demonstrating that some artifacts retain power precisely because they resist a single explanation. Like other enigmatic artifacts we have explored, the stone spheres embody the tension between knowledge and mystery. They reveal technical expertise and social organization while withholding their full story. They speak to the human desire to shape, measure, and leave a mark on the world. Yet they also remind us of the limits of understanding. The spheres are enduring enigmas, silent and steadfast, challenging observers to balance analytical rigor with imaginative openness, a delicate dance that has characterized the study of all great archaeological mysteries. Another compelling aspect of the spheres is their universality in form, despite the local context of their creation. Perfect spheres are rare in nature, yet they appear in numerous cultures worldwide, from carved stone balls in Scotland to polished spheres in ancient Mesoamerica. This recurrence hints at a broader human fascination with geometry, symmetry, and perfection. Across time and space, humans have repeatedly sought to impose shape, order, and meaning onto their surroundings, and the Dequa spheres are among the most compelling examples of this impulse. As we reflect on the Dequa spheres, we are drawn to their quiet power, small enough to be intimate, yet large enough to inspire awe, precise enough to demonstrate technical skill, yet ambiguous enough to preserve mystery. They encapsulate themes that run through our journey. The interplay of human creativity, environmental interaction, and the tension between understanding and wonder. From massive monuments to delicate mechanical devices, from coded manuscripts to geometric marvels, humanity has consistently left traces that challenge, inspire, and endure. The stone spheres also serve as a bridge in our exploration, connecting monumental sites like the pyramids of China to more intimate and conceptual artifacts such as the Voynich manuscript. They are physical, tactile, and tangible, yet their purpose and meaning remain elusive, reminding us that mystery can reside in scale, in material, and in intention. As we leave Costa Rica, our journey naturally transitions toward enigmas embedded in movement and sound, artifacts that, like the stone spheres, blend technical skill with imagination, yet operate in entirely different dimensions. From the lush forests of Costa Rica, we begin to consider archaeological finds that involve not only form but function, interaction, and experience. The journey moves toward mechanical, kinetic, and musical artifacts, objects that reveal the creativity of human hands and minds in ways both subtle and profound. The stone spheres have demonstrated the precision, planning, and symbolic depth of ancient cultures. What comes next is a continuation of that exploration, delving into human ingenuity expressed in dynamic and interactive forms. Hidden within the peat bogs of the Ural Mountains in Russia, an ancient wooden figure lay preserved for nearly 12,000 years, awaiting discovery by modern archaeologists. This remarkable artifact, known as the Shigar idol, stands over 5 meters tall, making it the tallest wooden sculpture ever found from the prehistoric era. Its surface is intricately carved with geometric patterns, anthropomorphic faces, and enigmatic symbols, all rendered with a precision that defies expectations for a culture living at the dawn of human history. The idol represents not only extraordinary craftsmanship, but also a profound window into the symbolic and spiritual life of early humans, offering a rare glimpse into a society whose story is otherwise lost to time. The Shigar idol was first uncovered in 1890, but its significance only became fully appreciated in recent decades after modern dating techniques confirmed its astonishing antiquity. Carbon analysis revealed that the wood dates back to approximately 10,000 BCE, making it older than the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, and even Göbekli Tepe. This timeline challenges conventional assumptions about the sophistication of early hunter-gatherer societies, suggesting that humans were capable of symbolic thought, complex artistry, and spiritual expression far earlier than traditionally recognized. The idol's age, combined with its scale and intricacy, creates a compelling paradox. A simple material, wood, transformed into a monumental object of profound meaning, preserved by the accidental protection of a peat bog. The carvings on the Shigar idol are as mysterious as its survival. Rows of geometric patterns, zigzags, and concentric shapes cover much of the sculpture, interspersed with stylized faces that appear to peer out from the wood. Scholars have debated the significance of these motifs. Do they represent mythological narratives, ancestral figures, cosmological symbols, or perhaps a system of communication lost to history? The precision and repetition of patterns suggest intentionality and knowledge, while the anthropomorphic faces hint at spiritual or ritual significance. Each symbol, each line, is a fragment of thought frozen in time, a language that may never be fully understood, yet still conveys a sense of deliberate purpose. The Shigar idol also offers insight into the technological capabilities of its creators. Carved from larch, resilient and durable wood, the figure required advanced woodworking skills and tools capable of precise cutting and shaping. The height and scale of the sculpture imply coordinated effort, suggesting that its creation was likely a communal endeavor rather than the work of a single individual. This points to the existence of social organization, collective ritual, or shared belief systems, reinforcing the notion that early human societies possessed both the creativity and the cohesion to produce monumental art. One of the most compelling aspects of the idol is its enigmatic symbolism. Unlike modern art, whose meaning is often accessible through context or documentation, the Shigar idol offers no guidebook, no explanatory text. Instead, it challenges observers to interpret based on visual cues, cultural inference, and imagination. The juxtaposition of geometric patterns and anthropomorphic features evokes a duality, the intersection of abstract thought and spiritual representation. It invites contemplation on the ways humans have historically sought to impose meaning upon their environment, encode knowledge in material form, and connect the visible world to the unseen forces they perceived. The preservation of the Shigar idol in a peat bog adds another layer of intrigue. The anaerobic, acidic conditions of the bog protected the wood from decay for millennia, allowing modern viewers to witness a sculpture of extraordinary age in remarkable condition. This circumstance highlights a recurring theme in archaeology: the delicate interplay between human creation and natural preservation. Without the bog, the idol would have long since disintegrated, and a crucial chapter in human artistic history would have been lost. Its survival is a reminder that chance often determines which artifacts endure, shaping our understanding of history in ways that are unpredictable and fragmentary. The Shigar idol's presence challenges modern perceptions of prehistoric life. Hunter-gatherers are often imagined as solely concerned with survival, yet this sculpture suggests a sophisticated engagement with abstract concepts, symbolism, and ritual. It demonstrates that humans, even in the harsh post-Ice Age environment, possessed the cognitive ability and cultural motivation to create works that transcended utility and aesthetics, venturing into the realms of ideology, spirituality, and collective memory. The idol, towering over the landscape, embodies this intersection of technical skill and conceptual depth, standing as a silent testament to human imagination across millennia. The idol also resonates with other enigmatic artifacts we have explored, like the moai of Easter Island. It embodies monumental human ambition and spiritual intent. Like the Antikythera mechanism, it demonstrates technical sophistication, though in a material and symbolic rather than mechanical form. And like the Voynich manuscript, it carries coded meaning, a message in a language only partially accessible, challenging contemporary observers to decode intentions across vast spans of time. This continuity emphasizes a broader truth. Across continents and millennia, humans have consistently sought to create, communicate, and leave traces of their understanding, even when the precise content remains elusive. In contemplating the Shigar idol, we also encounter the tension between permanence and fragility. Its longevity was dependent upon natural preservation, and yet its very material, wood, is susceptible to decay. The survival of this singular sculpture reminds us that much of early human culture has likely been lost, leaving only fragments to inspire curiosity and speculation. It underscores the idea that the mysteries of our ancestors are often partial, preserved by both intention and accident, compelling us to piece together narratives from what remains. The Shigar idol, towering and enigmatic, stands as a profound example of early human creativity, symbolism, and technical skill. Its carvings, scale, and preservation invite reflection on the cognitive and cultural capacities of societies long predating written history. It is at once tangible and mysterious, monumental yet intimate. It exemplifies the recurring interplay between known and unknown, seen and imagined, that characterizes our exploration of ancient enigmas. As we leave the peat bogs of the Urals, the narrative shifts from wooden artistry to monumental stonework, moving from personal expression to large-scale cultural and spiritual architecture. Our next focus will be the enigmatic structures of Puma Punku in Bolivia, where stone precision, astronomical alignment, and engineering mastery converge. Like the Shigar idol, Puma Punku embodies human ingenuity and mystery. But here, the scale is immense, and the technical sophistication is breathtaking. Together, these artifacts remind us that humanity's desire to create, explore, and leave enduring marks on the world is universal, bridging time, geography, and culture. High in the Andean highlands of Bolivia lies a site that challenges our understanding of ancient engineering, design, and human ingenuity, Puma Punku. Part of the larger Tiwanaku complex, this ceremonial and industrial site features massive stone blocks, precisely cut and meticulously arranged, with some stones weighing more than 130 tons. The site is renowned not only for its scale, but for the astonishing precision with which each block was shaped, fitted, and aligned, often with interlocking joints that seem to prefigure modern construction techniques. Walking among the ruins, one is immediately struck by the duality of awe and bewilderment. These stones are both familiar in their architectural purpose and alien in their execution, a testament to human ambition and the enigmatic knowledge of its builders. The construction techniques of Puma Punku remain one of its most compelling mysteries. Unlike most megalithic structures, the stones here are cut with extreme accuracy, some displaying perfectly straight edges, right angles, and precise grooves that suggest the use of advanced tools or methods beyond what is typically attributed to pre-Columbian civilizations. Many blocks feature complex geometric shapes, including H-shaped stones designed to interlock, demonstrating an understanding of stability, modularity, and mechanical principles. Scholars have long debated how the Tiwanaku people achieved such precision using stone, wood, and copper tools available at the time, raising questions about the limits of human capability and knowledge in the ancient Andes. Puma Punku's layout also reveals sophisticated planning and an apparent awareness of astronomy. Some alignments correspond to solar solstices or celestial events, indicating that the builders not only mastered engineering, but also integrated cosmological understanding into their work. The site may have served as a ceremonial center, a hub of religious practice, or a combination of functional and symbolic purposes. Each stone, each joint, and each axis reflects deliberate intent, suggesting that the construction process was guided by both spiritual and practical considerations. The interplay between these elements adds layers of complexity and deepens the site's allure as an enduring enigma. Equally striking is the scale of human labor and organization required to construct Puma Punku. Moving, cutting, and positioning massive stone blocks without modern machinery would have necessitated sophisticated planning, large labor forces, and precise coordination. Estimates suggest that some stones were transported from quarries several kilometers away, a feat demanding not only physical effort, but ingenuity in logistics, leverage, and teamwork. This level of social organization reflects a civilization capable of monumental projects, combining technical skill with coordinated human effort, a recurring motif in the world's most puzzling archaeological sites. The precision and craftsmanship of Puma Punku invite comparisons to other enigmatic sites. Like the Antikythera mechanism or the Baghdad Battery, it demonstrates a level of technical mastery that seems advanced for its time. Yet, unlike mechanical devices, Puma Punku's complexity is embodied in stone, monumental in scale, and static in nature. The juxtaposition of massiveness with exactitude creates a tension that both captivates and confounds, challenging assumptions about the technological capacities of ancient civilizations and forcing a reconsideration of what human societies could achieve with limited tools. The erosion and collapse of some sections add further intrigue. While many stones remain in remarkable condition, others have fallen, shifted, or eroded, leaving gaps in the original design. These ruins create the impression of a puzzle, inviting researchers to reconstruct the original configuration while acknowledging that some knowledge may be lost forever. This partial destruction, whether due to natural forces, human intervention, or both, amplifies the mystery, suggesting that the site's full purpose and functionality may never be completely understood. It also highlights the delicate balance between permanence and impermanence, a theme seen across other archaeological enigmas. The symbolic dimension of Puma Punku cannot be overlooked. The site may have been more than a functional space. It could represent cosmological principles, religious beliefs, or social hierarchy encoded in stone. Each block's placement, each interlocking joint, may carry layers of meaning now inaccessible to us. This intersection of technical skill and symbolic expression is characteristic of many great mysteries we have explored, from the Nazca lines to the Moai. Puma Punku reminds us that human ingenuity often extends beyond mere survival, encompassing spirituality, ideology, and a desire to leave lasting marks on the world. Puma Punku's endurance over centuries also speaks to the resilience of ancient knowledge. Despite earthquakes, erosion, and human activity, the precision of the remaining stones continues to inspire awe and speculation. Modern engineers and archaeologists study the site to understand the techniques employed, yet many aspects remain unexplained. This endurance reinforces a recurring theme. Human creativity and expertise can produce works that survive long after their creators are gone, carrying messages, skills, and intentions across time. The site's enigmatic nature is heightened by the contrast between what we can observe and what remains unknown. While the stone's precision and scale are undeniable, the methods, motivations, and full context are shrouded in ambiguity. This duality between the tangible evidence and the invisible knowledge mirrors the broader pattern in ancient mysteries. Artifacts and monuments reveal glimpses of human capability while preserving secrets that challenge understanding. Puma Punku, in this sense, is both a historical record and an open-ended question, inviting ongoing inquiry, reflection, and imagination. As we leave the terraces, platforms, and massive stone blocks of Puma Punku, the journey naturally turns toward enigmas of lost language and cultural expression. From monumental stonework to written and symbolic codes, human civilizations have consistently sought to encode knowledge, belief, and identity in enduring forms. The next artifact, the Rongorongo script of Easter Island, invites us to consider the mysteries of written communication, how meaning can be captured, preserved, and yet remain indecipherable across centuries. In tracing the arc from Puma Punku to Rongorongo, we continue to explore the spectrum of human ingenuity, from monumental engineering to the intricate complexity of symbolic thought. Puma Punku, with its monumental stones, precise craftsmanship, and enigmatic purpose, stands as a testament to the extraordinary capabilities of ancient societies. It embodies themes that run through our exploration of human history: technical skill, visionary planning, social coordination, symbolic expression, and the persistent tension between known and unknown. As we reflect on its mysteries, we are reminded of the enduring human desire to create, to innovate, and to leave lasting marks on the world, an impulse that resonates across continents, cultures, and millennia. On the remote shores of Rapa Nui, known to the wider world as Easter Island, a small collection of wooden tablets rests quietly in museums and archives, their surfaces etched with intricate, looping symbols that have defied interpretation for centuries. This script, known as Rongorongo, is one of the few remaining examples of a writing system whose meaning has been lost to time. Unlike pictographs or cave art that provide some contextual clues, Rongorongo appears as a fully developed, abstract system, suggesting a sophisticated culture capable of recording complex ideas, yet leaving no contemporary translations. The tablets are both tangible artifacts and enigmatic vessels, holding the echoes of a people whose intellectual and cultural life continues to inspire curiosity and speculation. Rongorongo was first reported by European explorers in the 19th century, though it was likely in use long before that time. The glyphs are engraved on wooden boards, often read in a unique reverse boustrophedon manner, where lines alternate direction and the text is flipped upside down for successive lines. This unusual writing convention hints at a carefully considered system, yet it complicates attempts at translation. Scholars have long debated whether Rongorongo represents a full language, a mnemonic device for oral tradition, or a ceremonial or calendrical code. Its undeciphered nature transforms the tablets into a bridge between the known and unknown, a puzzle that continues to resist the modern urge for certainty. The glyphs themselves are remarkably intricate. They depict humans, animals, plants, and geometric forms, often combined in ways that suggest symbolic meaning or phonetic value. Some glyphs recur frequently, hinting at common words, phrases, or concepts, while others are unique, perhaps representing proper names, ceremonial terms, or abstract ideas. The repetition and variation imply rules, structure, and purpose, yet without a Rosetta Stone equivalent, these rules remain elusive. Every attempt at decoding has produced tantalizing possibilities, but no definitive translation, leaving the script suspended in ambiguity, a silent testament to lost knowledge. Rongorongo's existence raises profound questions about the intellectual culture of Easter Island. The island is often associated with the moai, statues, massive stone figures that dominate the landscape, yet the presence of a writing system suggests a society engaged not only in monumental construction, but also in abstract thought, record-keeping, and possibly complex governance or ritual practices. The tablets indicate a civilization that valued documentation, memory, and symbolic communication, challenging assumptions about the scale and sophistication of Rapa Nui culture prior to European contact. In this sense, Rongorongo adds a layer of depth to the narrative of human ingenuity, emphasizing that intellectual achievement is not always visible in stone alone. One of the enduring mysteries of Rongorongo is its relationship to oral tradition. Some scholars suggest that the tablets were designed to aid in the recitation of chants, genealogies, or ritual instructions, functioning as a mnemonic rather than a conventional script. If true, this dual function, articulating language while encoding memory, would exemplify a sophisticated integration of literacy and oral culture, reflecting a nuanced understanding of cognition and communication. Yet, without definitive evidence, the debate remains open, and the tablets continue to occupy a liminal space between practical tool, ceremonial object, and cultural enigma. The creation of the tablets also underscores the technical skill of Rapa Nui artisans. Each tablet is carefully shaped and smoothed, and the glyphs are carved with consistent precision, often using obsidian or bone tools. The act of engraving such complex symbols on relatively small surfaces demonstrates patience, dexterity, and a strong aesthetic sense. This craftsmanship, coupled with the intellectual challenge of creating a functional script, reflects the multifaceted capabilities of the society that produced it. The tablets are thus both artistic and utilitarian, embodying an intersection of form, function, and meaning that continues to inspire study and admiration. Rongorongo also serves as a reminder of the fragility of cultural knowledge. Many of the tablets were lost, destroyed, or damaged during periods of colonial disruption and missionary activity, and the language of the Rapa Nui people itself experienced profound disruption. The surviving tablets are precious fragments, carrying the weight of centuries of unrecorded history and vanished knowledge. They exemplify how easily human understanding can be obscured, and how much is dependent on preservation, chance, and the continuity of cultural transmission. Each glyph is thus not only a symbol, but a survivor, a fragile witness to a world largely inaccessible to modern eyes. The undeciphered nature of Rongorongo also reflects a broader theme in our exploration of ancient mysteries: the persistent tension between human creativity and the passage of time. Across cultures and continents, civilizations have left traces that are precise, deliberate, and often comprehensible to their contemporaries, yet opaque to us centuries later. Rongorongo parallels other enigmatic artifacts we have encountered, such as the Voynich manuscript or the Shigar idol, in that it embodies a sophisticated system of knowledge preserved in a form that eludes modern understanding. It is a silent dialogue with the past, inviting patience, imagination, and humility from those who encounter it. The tablets also highlight the interplay between literacy, ritual, and social identity. Writing systems are rarely neutral tools. They encode worldview, power structures, and cultural priorities. Rongorongo may have been reserved for elite knowledge, ceremonial instruction, or the preservation of sacred tradition, indicating that literacy itself was a marker of social and spiritual authority. The undeciphered script thus becomes more than a technical puzzle. It is a window into the structure and values of the society that produced it, revealing a layer of human complexity that is otherwise invisible in the archaeological record. As we reflect on Rongorongo, we are drawn to the recurring pattern seen across human history: the creation of artifacts that encode knowledge, skill, and meaning, yet resist complete comprehension. From monumental stones to intricate manuscripts, from wooden idols to carved spheres, humans have consistently produced objects that preserve curiosity, ingenuity, and intentionality, leaving future generations both answers and questions. Rongorongo embodies this duality, a repository of intellect and imagination, yet a mystery that continues to inspire inquiry, debate, and wonder. Leaving the wooden tablets of Rapa Nui behind, our journey shifts once more from the intimate and symbolic to the monumental and sculptural. From the undeciphered signs of Rongorongo, we move to the giant moai statues, whose silent gazes dominate the island's landscape. Like the tablets, the moai embody technical skill, cultural significance, and enduring mystery, but on a scale that is impossible to ignore. Together, Rongorongo and the moai exemplify the dual nature of human achievement. The combination of conceptual, symbolic sophistication and monumental, physical manifestation, offering a glimpse into the minds and ambitions of a lost world. On the windswept plains of Easter Island, colossal stone figures rise from the earth, their oversized heads and stoic expressions gazing toward the horizon. These are the moai, sculpted by the Rapa Nui people between the 13th and 16th centuries, and they remain one of the most iconic and enigmatic archaeological mysteries in the world. Each statue, carved from volcanic tuff, displays remarkable craftsmanship, with carefully proportioned features, deep-set eyes, and an imposing presence that commands both awe and curiosity. The sheer scale of these figures, some standing over 10 meters tall and weighing several tons, immediately invites questions about the engineering, social organization, and spiritual beliefs that made such construction possible. The moai were more than monumental sculptures. They were symbolic guardians, believed to embody ancestral spirits who watched over communities, linking the living with the spiritual world. Positioned strategically across the island, often on stone platforms known as ahu, they reflect an intricate understanding of landscape, social hierarchy, and ritual practice. Transporting and erecting these statues required sophisticated knowledge of leverage, teamwork, and possibly rollers or sledges, demonstrating both ingenuity and coordination. Despite centuries of weathering and human interference, the moai continue to project a sense of presence and mystery. They invite reflection on human ambition, creativity, and the enduring desire to leave a lasting mark on the world. As we gaze upon these silent guardians, we are reminded that history is often a blend of achievement and enigma, a story written in stone that continues to challenge our understanding and spark imagination across generations. The moai serve as the perfect transition toward closing our exploration, connecting the monumental, the intimate, and the enigmatic into a final reflection on humanity's timeless pursuit of knowledge, artistry, and mystery.